Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, good. Because today we're tackling a mystery that has all the right ingredients. A sleepy French village. A priest who seems to win the lottery overnight. Coded messages hidden for centuries. A maybe not secret society. And a possible bloodline that could rewrite history.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that just sucks you right in. Is that a little something for everyone?
Totally. We're going to sort through historical records, conspiracy theories, even some theological stuff to try and make sense of Rennes-le-Château and the Priory of Sion. Where do we even begin with this one?
Well, at the heart of it all is our main character, I guess you could say, Berenger Saunier, this priest who goes from like everyday parish life to living large almost overnight.
Right, and no one's exactly sure where the money comes from. What are some of the theories out there?
Well, some say hidden treasure, right?
Yes.
Found it while renovating the church. Others say, no, he had powerful friends, patrons, maybe even got mixed up in some shady business.
And none of these theories have been proven.
Nope, not conclusively. That's part of what keeps the mystery so captivating, I guess.
So we've got a priest who's suddenly rolling in dough, fixing up the church, building weird structures. Then there's his death, which is all hush-hush and rumored. What's the deal with his confession and his housekeeper, Marie?
Yeah. See, Saunier goes to confession, but the priest won't absolve him. So people start thinking, what did he confess to? Something huge, right? Maybe how he got the money or some secret he dug up.
Okay, juicy. Then there's Marie. She's the housekeeper, right?
Right. And word is, she knew all of Saunier's secrets, promised to spill the beans when she was on her deathbed, but then, boom, a stroke.
Yeah.
Never got to tell the tale.
Talk about a story that just begs to be told. It's like something out of a movie. But wait, it gets even better, right? There are those parchments.
Oh, absolutely. The plot thickens, right? Supposedly, tucked away under the church altar, these parchments pop up, coded messages, the whole 9 yards. And 2 of them really stand out.
Lay it on me.
All right, so one says, and I quote, "This treasure belongs to Dagoberto's king and to Sion, and he is there dead."
Wow, straight to the point.
Right. And then the other one, this one's a mouthful. "Shepherdess, no temptation that Poisontiers hold key piece 681 by the cross, and this horse of God I complete this demon guardian at midday blue apples."
Okay, whoa. Talk about cryptic. But even I can pick out some key players there. Dagobert II, Sion, a shepherdess, even mentions painters Poussin and Tenier. Someone was dropping some serious hints.
Yeah, and those hints have kept researchers busy for a long, long time. We're talking about the Merovingian dynasty and a shadowy group called the Priory of Sion. Buckle up.
Okay, Dagobert II first. He's mentioned right there in the parchment, and I know his story is a bit, shall we say, dramatic. Fill us in. Who was he, and how does he fit into all of this?
So Dagobert II was a Merovingian king back in the 7th century. His reign was short-lived, and his death is shrouded in, well, you guessed it, more mystery. Some say he was assassinated, probably because of power struggles within the Frankish kingdom. Others say, no, he was forced out, exiled. But here's the thing. His story overlaps with the region around Rennes-le-Château. Back then, it was part of the Visigothic territory.
Hold on. So we have this connection to a king with a super mysterious and dramatic past, this region that's steeped in history, and these coded messages that hint at some hidden treasure. It's like a real-life Da Vinci Code.
You got it. And speaking of codes, we can't forget about the unsolved inscription on that shepherd monument at Shugborough Hall.
Oh, right. The one with the DUOSVEVM cipher. I can never remember that.
Most people can't. But while there's no direct link to Rennes-le-Château, some folks think it's all part of the same puzzle. Coded messages, secrets from the past, maybe they're connected somehow.
It's wild to think that a message in France and a monument in England could be linked. But let's go back to those painters in the parchment, Poussin and Teniers, and a shepherdess. That makes me think of a very specific painting.
You're probably thinking about Nicolas Poussin's Les Bergers d'Arcadie, right? It's a painting that's become super central to a lot of the Rennes-le-Château theories. Shepherds gathered around a tomb, and the tomb has this inscription, "Et in Arcadia ego."
And the weird part is...
There's a tomb near Rennes-le-Château that looks almost exactly like the one in the painting.
Wait, seriously? A real-life version of a painting that's key to this whole mystery? That's a little too coincidental, don't you think?
You tell me. And then there's that inscription, "Et in Arcadia ego." It means, even in Arcadia, I am present. People usually see it as a reminder of death, even in a peaceful place. But in this case...
This case what? Don't leave me hanging.
Well, some folks think it's way more cryptic, like it's hinting at some hidden truth or a lineage that's survived through time. And that brings us to the Priory of Sion, the supposed secret society at the heart of it all.
Okay, the Priory of Sion. This is where things get super murky. Some say it's a historical society, centuries old, and others say it's totally made up, a modern invention. What's the truth?
Well, officially, it was registered in France in 1956, which is pretty recent, right? But then you've got people who swear that's just a cover story, that the real priory goes way, way back, operating in the shadows for centuries.
So, conflicting stories, not a lot of hard proof, and a whole lot of speculation. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that the Priory exists. What were they doing? What were they trying to hide?
Ah, that's the question, isn't it? Some sources say their mission was to protect a bloodline, a lineage that would turn history on its head if it ever got out.
Hold on, are we talking about the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Now, that sounds like we're heading into conspiracy theory territory. What evidence is there for something that wild?
Look, it's important to say that the evidence about the Priory of Sion is, well, it's not exactly black and white.
Hmm.
But the sources paint a pretty interesting picture. They point to the Priory's fascination with the Merovingian dynasty, a dynasty some say had a sacred lineage, maybe even tied to Jesus and Mary Magdalene.
Wait, are we really saying there's a chance that Jesus had descendants and this Priory of Zion was created to protect them? Okay, my mind is officially blown.
It's a big claim, I know. We're going to need to look at the evidence really carefully, but hey, that's what these deep dives are all about, right?
You got that right. All right, so we're going deep into the history of the Merovingians next. We need to figure out why anyone would connect them to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And we got to see how our friend Berenger Saunier and his mysterious fortune fit into all of this. I'm already hooked.
All right, so the Merovingians. Frankish dynasty ruled parts of Europe way back in the 5th to 8th centuries. And what makes them interesting for our Rennes-le-Château mystery is this whole idea of a sacred lineage.
Okay, we're back to that bloodline, maybe even a connection to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Sounds pretty out there. What's the historical basis for that?
Well, it's a bit of a mix, right? Historical records, legends, interpretations, all kind of blended together.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Merovingians, they claim to be descended from this mythical creature, the Quinator.
A queen of what now?
Quinator. Sounds crazy, I know. Some people think it was like a symbol representing a hidden bloodline.
So not a literal sea monster.
Probably not, no. But it adds to the mystique. Then you've got Dagobert II, remember him? Seen as a messianic king by some. And the fact that he was assassinated, well, it kind of feeds into this idea of a sacred lineage betrayed and lost.
Okay, so there's this idea of a bloodline that's really important, maybe even divine. And this bloodline is somehow tied to Rennes-le-Château. But how does Saunier and all his weird spending fit in?
Remember that parchment message. This treasure belongs to Dagobert II, king, and to Sion. Some folks think Saunier found proof of this bloodline, maybe genealogies, artifacts, even a hidden tomb. That could explain the sudden wealth and the fancy renovations.
It's like he was trying to leave clues to tell the world about this secret. And the Priory of Sion, if they were real, they were the protectors, right? But why all the secrecy? Why not just announce it?
That's the big question. Some say the Priory thought the world just wasn't ready for such a huge revelation, that it would shake things up too much. Others think maybe they're waiting for the right time, like a moment of crisis or a big shift in thinking, to drop the bomb.
Okay, so maybe there was a reason for keeping it quiet. But let's talk about the theological and esoteric stuff for a minute. We're in the realm of alternative Christianity, secret knowledge, maybe even a touch of the occult. Things are getting kind of weird, right?
It's definitely getting more out there.
Hmm.
We got to keep an open mind, right? Some sources suggest the Priory of Sion wasn't just guarding a bloodline. They were protecting secret knowledge. Stuff about the real nature of Jesus and Mary Magdalene's relationship.
Wait, are we talking about the idea that they were more than friends? Maybe even married with kids?
Yeah, some people think so.
Yeah.
It challenges the traditional view of Jesus and opens up this whole possibility of a hidden family line. That's a big deal, not just for history, but for how we understand Christianity.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. And what about the Holy Grail? Where does that fit in? Is it a real cup or something more symbolic?
The Holy Grail is always a popular topic. In the Rennes-le-Château mystery, some sources say it's not about a physical object, but more like a secret, a hidden truth, maybe even the bloodline itself.
So the Grail could be a metaphor for the very knowledge the Priory of Sion was protecting. This just keeps getting more and more mind-boggling. But what about those who think the Priory is biding their time, waiting to reveal their secrets? What would that even look like, and how would it change the world?
That's where things get really speculative. Some believe it'd bring about a new era of spiritual enlightenment, like a total shift in how we think. Others say it could force us to re-examine religious doctrines, reinterpret history. It's exciting and scary at the same time, right?
Totally. It's like we're standing on the edge of something huge, something we can't even wrap our heads around. But before we get too lost in speculation, let's be real for a minute. Do we have any solid proof for all of this? I mean, we've got coded messages, connections, theories galore, but what about hard evidence?
There's the rub. A lot of this comes down to interpretation. There's not a lot of clear-cut proof to convince the skeptics. Some of those key priorly assigned documents have been called into question, and plenty of historians and researchers are, well, they're not buying it.
So where does that leave us? We've uncovered so many intriguing theories, but there's still so much uncertainty. It feels like we're walking a tightrope between fact and fiction.
That's a good way to put it. Remember, we're dealing with history mixed with speculation, maybe even a bit of wishful thinking. The sources are fascinating, don't get me wrong, but we got to be critical too.
Absolutely. And even if we set aside the more outlandish claims about secret societies and lost bloodlines, there are still some big questions left unanswered. Like Saunier's wealth, for one. Where did it really come from?
Yeah, that's a real head-scratcher. Some people believe he stumbled upon a historical secret, maybe a lost treasure or a hidden archive. Others say, it was probably something more ordinary, like smart investments, maybe even some forgeries.
It's amazing how the deeper we go, the more complex this story gets. We started with a priest who got rich, and now we're talking about secret societies, ancient bloodlines, and hidden knowledge. It's enough to make anyone question what they thought they knew about history.
That's the beauty of Rennes-le-Château, right? It makes you think outside the box, explore different perspectives. Even if we never find all the answers, the journey itself is pretty incredible.
I completely agree. We may not have solved the mystery today, but we've definitely sparked some curiosity and given everyone a lot to ponder. What are your thoughts, listener? What parts of this story intrigue you the most?
We always encourage our listeners to dig deeper. Do your own research, explore the sources, and see what conclusions you come to. Maybe you'll find a connection no one else has noticed or uncover a piece of evidence that changes everything.
Or maybe you'll just get swept up in the thrill of the chase. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities that still exist.
At the end of the day, the mysteries of Rennes-le-Château remind us that history isn't always a straightforward story. It's more like a tapestry woven from facts, theories, and beliefs. And sometimes, the most compelling stories are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
Well said. So, until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop being curious. Who knows what other mysteries are waiting to be discovered?